Hey there, welcome. And today we wanted to jump on and talk about how to unstress during the holidays. At here at our platform, the Consciousness Renaissance, we share our wisdom, Wade from a philosophical point of view, and myself from a native point of view. And we just wanted to talk about unstressing during the holidays because I'm personally doing good, but I'm finding that so many people feel stressed out. So many people feel anxious, and for a lot of different reasons. Wait, let me do a check in. How are you doing through the holidays?
Oh, I'm doing great. But I do hear the same concerns that you do. At where I teach at my school, they have this thing called De-stress for Success, where they try to get the students to have some little snacks and things like that to de-stress them during the stressful exam period. So our concept is to try to help you de-stress during the stressful holiday season with other types of approaches.
So, the first thing that comes to mind anytime I feel stressed out or anxious about my individual situation, what gets me out of that is to be of service to others. And right now, there's so much need out there and so many different ways to be of service. Over the weekend, I actually volunteered. My cousin works for this nonprofit called Get on the Bus. And the Get on the Bus, what they do is they take children to visit their incarcerated parents. And he said, come volunteer. And so they had their holiday party. So I got there and I said, okay, I'm here to be of service. And they put me in charge of the kids' crafts. And so I was helping these young kids, their ages maybe 4 to 16. We were making Christmas ornaments to put on a Christmas tree. They had a photo booth, and people were taking photos, and then they were doing letters to their parents that are incarcerated. Now, I know for me, people of color, because I'm Latina, Native American, our population has a higher rate of incarceration. And for me, the reason I felt it was so important to go volunteer is because it's not the kids' fault. I mean, these poor kids, they have, they're just like a victim of their circumstances or environment. So I walked away so happy because to see the joy on the kid's face. So for me, it's about getting out of my issues, whatever I think my issues are, get out of my head. And when I'm of service to others, it makes me feel good. And right now, during the holidays, there's so many ways that you can volunteer, go and help, pass that, be a volunteer at a toy drive, be a volunteer helping feed the homeless. There's a million different ways. And if you're not sure how to do it, there is actually a website, how to volunteer and volunteer.org, and it'll give you all the opportunities in your area. So, the first recommendation I want to give you if you're feeling worried or stressed or unhappy, go be of service to others and you'll feel better. Wade, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, that's a great one. Just service is such a wonderful thing. And when you do give, it transforms your inner world at the same amount it changes the outer world. Such a wonderful thing to do. Thanks for sharing that. I've got a few suggestions. The first is something I call energy alchemy, which, it's in alignment with this law of vibration that we talk about. And so many times in the holidays, I think it's a stressful situation when you're with family members that you don't see all the time. And all those old issues come up and things like that. And you've got some tension or something's not going right in the kitchen when you're getting preparing for the big meal, things like that. They're stressful situations. And the purpose of this practice is to consciously choose your energetic state. Most people react at times like that. They just fly off the handle, go back to old patterns that they have with their family. Well, this is a good opportunity, a great opportunity to actually recalibrate that reaction and turn it into an action where you consciously choose how you want to engage that situation. And by doing that, you're able to take these stressful, energetic vibes that you're getting and transmute them so that you actually raise your consciousness. You actually come from a higher place. I've put this in practice in stressful situations where you can't, you can only control yourself. You can't control other people, what they're going to say, what they're going to do. And so to calmly listen, take in the data that you're receiving from the external world, and then make a choice, a conscious choice to not let it ruffle you, not let it bring you down, but rather choose it to elevate you, kind of like soak in the conversation, soak in the situation, and then make the choice about how can I best interact at this point in space and time to make my situation, everyone else in this situation better. And by doing that practice over and over, you're able to transform the way you interact with the world. And ultimately, it's going to get you to a place where you are taking whatever comes into you and transforming it into making you a better person. So that's my first tip, just to deal with all the anxiety that you deal with at these social settings in the time of the holidays here.
So I love that. And you know me, one of my favorite laws is the law of vibration. So I want to add on to what you're talking about because with vibration, it's adjusting it. So for me, if you want to raise your vibration, one of the things, and we've talked about this before, for me, it's music and dance. I love Christmas carols, Christmas songs. That's music makes me happy. Moving and dancing makes me happy. But some people right now, if they're on stress overload, they want to do the opposite and calm their vibration. And so if you need calmness with your energy, then I do recommend meditation. And so, for those of you that haven't meditated before, it's really just simply sitting in quietness and quieting your mind and giving yourself a little break, right? And just like sit there. And if you don't know what to do, just breathe. And so just breathe in and breathe out and be in that moment. Because when you're in that moment and you're calm, then you don't have to worry about what happened in the past or what's going to happen. You just sit in that serenity. So I just wanted to throw in those two add-ons for the law of vibration. Any other ideas?
Yeah, that's a great idea. And just the fact is, whenever you meditate or take those breaths and focus on the present moment, mindfulness, the concept that's being bandied about a lot today, it actually changes your physical body. Your breathing slows you down so that you're not stressed anymore. So this is very powerful advice. Thanks for sharing that. Another concept I have involves this thing I like to call your pocket Play-Doh, having AI around with us everywhere. If you think about that, it's always around, so you can use it to help you in these stressful situations. And this one I kind of call like the AI well-being weaver. So when it comes to well-being, it's not just your physical body, it's also your mind, it's also your heart. Those are the three components that I think comprise your system of self. Those are the three things you need to pay attention to. And when it comes to well-being, it's all three of those together and dealing with those appropriately, making them more ideal. And the story that comes to my mind when I talk about this is whenever you're on an airplane and that oxygen mask drops down, the instructions are to put it on yourself first before you help your child or your spouse or your friends or anyone else, because you're of no use if you're not breathing properly. Same thing goes for well-being. How can you dispense advice? How can you judge others when you're not handling your own system of self? So it's very important to do that. So how do you make that happen? Well, you can take the AI that's on your Pocket Play-Doh. Again, as we've discussed in the past, I prefer Claude.ai, and you can use it to set up a regimen. You can actually ask it to set up a physical exercise practice over the next week if you just want to go that long. And it can give you steps, things you can do, customized to your age, your body type. All of those factors can go into it. Again, it's in your pocket. Another thing it can do is help you with your emotions. And I think probably the most powerful practice I've come across that's the simplest to actually do is a gratitude journal. And you can have AI help you with this. Such a simple idea. Just when you wake up every morning during this holiday season, think of three things that you are grateful for, three things that you appreciate that you have in your life. Nothing that you lack, nothing that you want. What do you have? What do you own? What was part of you that brings you joy and exuberance in this life? And if you take that true practice and put it into effect, you start to realize you have a great deal to be grateful for. And that practice of gratitude will grow and become, it's like a muscle, just like you practice the piano if you want to get good at it, or the hook shot if you want to get good at basketball. You've got to practice this. And if you practice this gratitude journaling, using again AI to help with suggestions or tips, then you will find out that, wow, your whole mindset transforms over this time period and that you act differently in the world. You're actually engaging people from a different place, and it makes your life better. It makes those that engage with you better. And again, that's the emotional aspect. Also, we talked about the physical aspect. With the mental aspect, you could use AI to help maybe offload some of the cognitive capabilities that you don't have to think about all the time. You can take a picture of your fridge and ask it what can I make out of what's in here from what recipes do you have? It'll give you suggestions there. You can use it to, take care of all these many tasks you have that you can be offloaded to this little assistant of yours. That frees the time up so that you have less stress in your life, more time to focus on that well-being of your body, mind, and heart.
Well, thank you for sharing that because, what I've learned from you is really how to incorporate AI in my life more. I do incorporate the laws of nature, the spiritual laws. That's really what I live by. And I do my gratitude every day, and it
Mm.
really does change my mindset. So I also feel it's important when you're feeling stressed or anxious to connect with nature. It could be as simple as taking a walk, taking a hike, sitting in a garden, really connecting with nature because when you connect with nature, you realize, and I've said this before, nature is absolute. We're coming up on the winter solstice, which is December 21st, and the seasons are gonna be changing. So the winter solstice is a perfect time to really release anything that's no longer working in your life, emotions, people, experiences, and really for the next season, the winter season, it's really about like bears hibernate. It's really about turning within and working on yourself. So when you connect with nature, whether it be being out in nature or connecting through the understanding of the cycles of nature, it really can give you the inner peace that may be missing during this time that you're really stressed out. So, any other thoughts or recommendations?
No, I just think that's wonderful, the connection with nature. I think that nature reflects your nature. You know what I mean? If you're at peace, then that's what you're going to experience out there in the natural world. And if you're in an agitated state, you're not going to see it that same way. But as you mentioned, going out and experiencing that and being a part of it and realizing your system of self is part of this larger system of nature that we're all inhabit on this planet. So it's a symbiotic relationship. It's interconnected. This goes back to the law of divine oneness. All is one. We're all connected in this. And so if you can realize the part you play, that's what goes back to the first thing you said in this talk about being of service. If you go into life with the mindset of, I'm going to be of service to help make the world a better place, well, you're doing the right thing and you're heading in the right direction. And your whole emotional being will change, and so will those that you interact with. So I love how these things all kind of circle back around, and there's such useful tips that can really help. If you just, the whole key though, let me just say this, it's not about, which goes back to one of my favorite quotes by Yogi Berra, Hall of Famer baseball player. He said, in theory, there's no difference between theory and practice, but in practice, there is. Practice is the key. Don't just listen to us. Don't just think, oh, they sound pretty smart. Put this stuff into effect. Do it. That's the only way you can recognize the change. That's the only way you can appreciate what we're talking about and have that experience and then transform yourself into a more ideal human being.
And I like to tell people, remember, happiness is a choice. You can choose happiness each and every day, irregardless of your circumstances, because we all have stuff we go through. There's circumstances. Maybe you're worried because you don't have enough money to buy people's presents, but it's really about getting in the spirit of giving. And sometimes it's just giving your time. Sometimes it's giving somebody an ear to listen to. I talked about being of service. go to a senior citizen center and talk to somebody that doesn't have
Mm.
somebody to spend time with. So there's so many different ways you could be of service. Choose happiness, don't stress, you know, be happy and continue coming back and share our videos and our YouTube channel with others. Happy
Yes.
holidays.
Thanks.